Arcadian Vanguard presents The Wrestling News in your daily wrestling newscast for Wednesday, March 22nd, 2023. Good morning. I'm Mike Sempervive. We begin with last night's edition of NXT, broadcast live on the USA Network from the WWE Performance Center in Orlando, Florida. The main event saw NXT champion Braun Breaker team up with Carmelo Hayes to defeat Pretty Deadly when Hayes pinned Kit Wilson.
Carmelo Hayes, he wants to win just as bad.
Oh, so close.
Wait, whoa! Carmelo just tossed Breaker out of the way to open the door for the spear.
Crushed him.
And Breaker making the tag, opening the door for nothing but net.
Breaker had previously saved Hayes and Trick Williams from an attack by Pretty Deadly in the opening segment of the show. Breaker and Hayes are scheduled to face off for the NXT title at Stand and Deliver during WrestleMania weekend. In qualifying matches for the NXT Women's Championship ladder match at Stand and Deliver, Lyra Valkyria defeated Ivy Nile and Tiffany Stratton defeated Indy Hartwell. Also on the show, the match between J.D. McDonough and Ilya Dragunov went to a no contest when a three-man brawl broke out involving the two opponents as well as Dragon Lee, who was seated at ringside.
By any means necessary. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. You want to get in the action? Dragon Lee, welcome to NXT.
I don't think Dragon Lee wanted to get this close. Oh, what a cheap shot! Oh! Wait a minute.
Oh, no.
We're talking about the chaos. It's breaking down. Book it over
No,
here.
not this way, Vic.
Prior to the match, North American champion Wes Lee had declared that he was granting Dragon Lee a spot in the upcoming five-way match for his title at Stand and Deliver. In ratings news, Monday night's episode of Raw brought in 1.771 million viewers to the USA Network this week, up nearly 4% from last week's 1.705 million, according to Showbuzz Daily. In the hourly breakdown, Hour 1 drew 1.778 million viewers, which grew to 1.807 million for Hour 2, then dropped to 1.729 million for the final hour, for a cumulative loss of 49,000 viewers over the course of the show. The rating in the key 18 to 49-year-old demographic was 0.55, up from last week's 0.53, according to WrestleNomics. The episode came in second place for the evening on cable TV in the key demo, even with last week. A&E's biography, WWE Legends, drew record low numbers for its Jerry Lawler and Paige episodes, which ran Sunday night, while A&E's WWE Rivals episode on Trish Stratus against Lita also drew one of the lowest audiences seen for that series, according to Showbuzz Daily. The one-hour Jerry Lawler episode of Legends drew 350,000 viewers, down from the 383,000 that tuned in for last week's Kane biography episode. This was the second lowest viewership so far over all three seasons of the show. The rating in the key 18 to 49-year-old demographic was 0.11, down from 0.13 for the Kane episode, and representing 143,000 viewers according to WrestleNomics. The Lawler episode was followed by another one-hour biography episode on Paige, which drew the all-time smallest audience in the history of the WWE Legends series, with 297,000 viewers tuning in, a loss of 53,000 viewers from the Lawler episode, which aired immediately prior. The key demographic rating also dropped from 0.11 for Lawler to 0.10 for Paige, the second lowest key demo rating for a Legends episode. Sunday's WWE Rivals episode on Trish Stratus against Lita had an even lower viewership, with 271,000 tuning in, down from 287,000 for the Triple H against Batista Rivals episode last week. The key demo rating for Trish against Lita was up, however, jumping from 0.99 for Triple H against Batista to 0.11 this week. It was the second lowest rated episode of WWE Rivals so far. Turning to Major League Wrestling, two MLW title holders successfully defended their titles on last night's Super Fight 2023 episode of MLW Underground on Reels, featuring matches taped on February 4th at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia. Alexander Hammerstone retained the MLW World Heavyweight title against Jacob Fatu, the man he originally defeated for the belt nearly a year and a half ago.
Hammer puts the brakes on. Oh my God! Suplex through the wood! Nightmare pendulum! Will Hammer lead MLW through the underground hero! Winner of this matchup and still.
Hammerstone was attacked after the match by the Hive faction led by Raven. Also on the show, MLW World Women's Featherweight Champion Taya Valkyrie turned back the challenge of Billy Starks. Valkyrie also holds the AAA Reina de Reinas title and was recently one half of the Impact Knockouts Tag Team Champions. In the past month, she's also competed for the NWA and made her AEW debut last week. In NWA news, NWA World Women's Champion Camille made her 34th successful defense of the title on last night's episode of NWA Power on YouTube, defeating Angelina Love in a no disqualification rematch from their original encounter last month at NWA Nuff Said.
Camille needs to capitalize.
Oh my gosh.
She needs to get in the pin after going through the table.
Try to pull her
Just
out.
trying to drag her to the center, somewhere where there's a clear spot.
Taking everything just to drag her for the pin, too.
There it is. This could be it. She got it.
And still, NWA World Women's Champion, the Brickhouse, Camille!
Camille has held the title since defeating Serena Deeb at NWA Where Our Shadows Fall in June of 2021. And before we leave you today, we'd like to remind you that however you consume your content, you can find the wrestling news 24 hours a day and 7 days a week across social media. On Twitter, follow us at Wrestling News AV. Our Facebook page is also Wrestling News AV. The Wrestling News can also be found on the Arcadian Vanguard YouTube page. And for those who utilize Amazon Echo devices, just tell Alexa to play the Wrestling News podcast. And remember to make sure you add podcast at the end. Once again, for daily updates, breaking news, and more, follow the Wrestling News across social media. And that's the news for today. If anything happens, we will be here to tell you about it. No clickbait, no paywall, just the Wrestling News. The Wrestling News is a division of Arcadian Vanguard, and the Wrestling Newscast is a production of the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network.